Hey guys, we're going to do some work from closed guard today. So if anybody's joining us, we're just going to try to work on some like basic ideas of kind of submissions and sweeps and things from closed guard or feet on the hips. A lot of times when we work together, we'll show kind of an idea of how to do feet on the hips or some variation of guard that's not closed. Because if I'm working with somebody that's maybe got a little shorter legs, or if she's working with someone that's maybe a lot larger than her, she's not always going to be able to hold the closed guard. And so we're going to work. But really what I kind of thought we'd focus on today is just some ideas from the guard with basic grips. And we do a lot of this in fundamentals, but it's still really good because, again, it's going to focus us back to kind of combinations and transitions versus stuff like that. So I'm going to have her on the bottom in the guard, and now she can be in closed. Okay, so all of this will work from closed, but it'll also work from feet on the hips. So if she's working from feet on the hips, then we can do a lot of the same stuff. In the fundamentals class, a lot of times we work from that scissor sweep position, right? And so there's two different ideas here when we're playing. If she's trying to play a traditional closed guard, she can hold sleeves, but that gives me the ability to posture. A lot of times instead she'd be holding this, right? And this might be, again, where you start to use more of like that scissor position, even with your guard, versus like a normal feet on the hips. Now this is still a lot like feet on the hips. This knee is going to give her a lot of ability to like see how she can like move and stretch me away. If you look to the hook on the foot behind, it's hooked in here, so it's not lazy. It's not like here, right, where I can just pass around it. So she doesn't want to let me control that foot. If you put your foot down again, a lot of times here I can block that foot and start to pressure the hips and put the weight down. So she has to be very careful of allowing me to control that. But if you notice here, a lot of times what this is going to encourage me to do, like if she starts to push me away with the knee a little bit and I start to resist that, now that gives her the ability to pull me into that scissor sweep. And so there's the first idea of the technique. So that's probably going to be the position we address the most today, because you can attack the basic attacks from closed guard, right? Cross collar choke, belt sweep, maybe. Anything else, at some point you have to unlock your feet. Even in the belt sweep, right? Eventually you have to unlock your feet. And so closed guard is good. Really the cross collar choke from closed guard, that's the one, right? Like that, we can attack that without ever having to open our guard. It's pretty simple. But once she's got that hand in the collar, and I start to do that basic defense. So the same thing we always show people. A lot of times we're here. She puts a hand in the collar, and what do? I block the other arm. So now she can't cross collar choke me. But she can make that sleeve grip, and now right away, she can start to move to that scissor position. She's gonna make a frame against me here, okay? So like pushing away a little bit to create just enough. So you don't need to push too hard, right? If she pushes really hard away and like I just sit back, now I'm just, right? She puts some tension against me, and then I'm like, I feel that, and I'm just resisting her pushing me. So now all of a sudden, if she so I even just kind of release that tension a little bit, see what happens to my body? So all of a sudden, and it's not because I'm pushing even, I'm just resisting. And now all of a sudden, she's going to change the directions. So now she starts to release that tension and pull me forward. All the weight starts to go over my right knee. Then she drops the foot, stretch, and sweep. Now she makes sure when she sweeps, she uses the foot on the hip. She pulls the hips first. Right, and make sure she keeps the upper body over there, just not to immediately make that rush that causes the bridge, right? Boom, and then I oop her right back over. It's a lot of times, you can hit that sweep and you follow up too hard and the person's ready to bridge. They got to make a motion because you're going to score the 6 points, 2 for the sweep and 4 for the mount. So that's going to be the first technique. It's just the normal scissor sweep. That's one of those, and so the scissor sweep was the first sweep that I think I ever learned, like a legit sweep. That or the belt sweep, it was one of the two. And so they're still both in our fundamentals program. I think that's awesome because they're super important sweeps, but I think a lot of people struggle with the scissor sweep. And so one of the first things I thought we should do is just maybe talk about the little things that can happen in the scissor sweep. So body position is super important. So look, she escapes. Her hip is out here. See where she is here? She's not underneath me. I was taught once when we first started to point your hips to where you want to sweep your opponent. And that works for most of the sweeps where we're going to put somebody over their shoulder onto their back, pendulum sweep and things like that. And so if you look at your hip position there, if she's trying to sweep me from here, her hips are facing up, right? So she's trying to use her leverage, right? Now she positions her hip, now they're pointing this way. And that's the way she's going to pull me, right? With that resistance as I lean forward, okay? And now here's the other thing here is this leg. If this leg is down here, and I can put my weight over, and now she tries to pull and stretch and kick, she can't. So you've got to find the position. It's also, I'll see people put it way too far up, like this, okay? But again, look at where your hips are. They're kind of starting to point up this way. So you've got to find an angle. My recommendation to people is always if you draw a line from the foot to the knee, it is almost pointing right up and over my shoulder, and that's where you're going to sweep me, is up and over my shoulder. So if you can think about that, it might help. She's going to start to pull as I resist, right? She releases that tension, she pulls. Notice the position of the foot. So the next idea here, okay? It's up on the hip until this point. Because sometimes people go here right away, right? So they just plant and then the person steps over or slides over. And now you're going to have a problem with the sweep. So versus dropping it to the ground right away, if you keep it against the hip, it helps create that tension. And then as you pull, drop and go. Okay. Some people will also put the foot against the knee, and that's not necessarily wrong either. So they'll drop and push the knee here as they sweep. Okay. Sometimes, depending on body type or just what makes sense to you, that's good. The one thing that I usually recommend is to try to place the heel right about on the knee. I like that one the best because it kind of hooks against the inside of the knee and stops me from going over the leg. But if you're doing the sweep correctly, and here's the difference, all of my weight is shifting this way. So what happens is she's pulling me this direction. All of my weight is over my right knee now. So if I try to step my right leg up, it's very difficult because I have all the weight onto that knee. And that's the time she creates the scissor motion with the legs and sweeps. My weight is coming forward and it's over this knee. That prevents me from stepping that leg up. So if you just try to kick your legs, right, without creating the off balance, a lot of times the person's going to stand their leg up because there's no weight. So right here, okay, she's in the sweep, no problem, right? But now she starts to pull me forward here. Like, I can't, as if I try to lift my leg up, I'm almost going to get swept right away. Last part, guys, just remember, bring your hips first. So your hips here are heavy. And if you pull your hips over and leave your upper body, you bring a lot of weight over my core, which is going to make it hard to bridge, but you're keeping a lot of your upper body off to the side so that I can't create that easy whoop up and just go. Because remember, if I get you right here, right away, you just got the advantage, right? Maybe two, because you have a sweep in them all, depending on what the ref calls. But you definitely didn't get 6 points, which is what we really want. So, that sweep, very fundamental, but very difficult, I would say. That we do a lot of corrections on that, where we have to walk around and kind of move people's hips in the right place and everything else. Okay. And so the other one, okay, the next thing that we show from here a lot of times, the person tries to block. So I can come inside here, right? I can control here, okay? Sometimes here, if I'm sitting back a little bit, right? So she tries to pull me and I can't, right? She pulls and I'm resisting, okay? Now she has the option, okay, if she wants to go for the arm. Because my arm is still here, she still has my arm. This will still start to lift into my, so she lifts up a little, yes, like this. See that? And create. Same position now, just a different idea. Maybe I'm pushing from here a little bit. Okay? So what she's going to do is her left foot is going to create a hip escape, right? Her right leg is going to start to lift up to shift my weight over, and she can come in to the arm. So that's another option from this position, okay? Because a lot of times what happens as soon as you start to go to that position, and so what I want you guys to think about, and the reason that we're doing this lesson today is it's not just this is a art, right? right? It's not just, okay, we're gonna open up from close guard and I'm gonna do the scissor sweep. You opened up and you went to this position and I resist the scissor sweep. It's gonna happen, right? You can try to put me back in the close guard. We're gonna talk about that, right? Because maybe you're gonna try to put me back in the close guard and I'm not gonna let you. But right now we have some options that are immediately available. So you can see how easy it is for her to hit the arm bar. Like good, clean technique there. So again, from close guard, first thing always is like here and yeah, cross collar choke, right? If my posture's broken down. But always if the person's defending this, because I know that that's the arm, right? It's gonna do the damage. Right here, she's got this one, but she can't choke me with just the one arm here. So, okay, I block the bicep. She grabs the sleeve here, escapes the hips. First position, then she tries to sweep, okay? I resist a little, so like I'm kind of sitting, I'm like almost pulling my head back, sitting my butt down. So she tries to sweep here, go ahead. It's pretty difficult, okay? It's gonna feel like you're trying to chop down a tree with no axe. I'm not going anywhere. So now all of a sudden, look, left foot creates the hip escape as the right foot lifts to the ceiling. The arm comes with you, so you don't have to do anything with the arm. You just have to keep it trapped to your body. And now that's going to come with you. Okay. So guard opened, scissor position, right? From here, she pulls and sweeps, or I resist, and now she goes into the arm bar. Okay. So now you have two ideas from there instead of just one. So now if the good thing about this is when we get into a closed guard, a lot of times people would tell you it's like you want to keep the guard closed, right? Like you feel comfortable. And so if you only know the scissor sweep, there's like that opportunity. You see it, and you're like, okay, maybe I'll do the scissor sweep. But once you go there and it doesn't work, you feel like you open up your guard for nothing, right? So the more techniques that you can put right around that idea, the better you're going to be. Because now all of a sudden you open up and you're like, if the scissor sweep doesn't work, I can arm bar. Okay. All of a sudden she starts going there and I'm like, I'm trying to get back inside and block. Right? And now I'm thinking like, I know, like I don't want to let this be here. Or she got this here, right, a little bit, and maybe I try to get around and pass. Sometimes I'm going to come underneath here and try to stack. Right? That's a possibility too. So we're going to show the triangle from two variations. The first one is the simple one here. I just try to come underneath and stack. And she's going to go same motion now as the arm bar. But she's going to get the triangle. Okay. So if I'm here and I'm like, I can get underneath that leg. You don't want to let somebody be underneath that leg too long. Because if I can come in and get your hips and kind of pull myself in, I might start. So as soon as I start to reach underneath, just make the same motion. It's not an uncommon reaction. If you have this arm, it's going to be hard for me to get that arm out. And especially, guys, I think sometimes we forget, you learn right away to not do things like leave an arm in and leave an arm out. We know this is triangle territory, but we forget that when we're grappling, that sometimes people's minds shut off or they see something. They're looking this direction. They're like, I can get under that leg. They're not even thinking about this arm. And so I think a lot of times people see techniques and they're like, that wouldn't work. And then you'll never try it. Man, you should try it. And if you can tap the guy out 10 times like that, he needs to know that he's falling for that trick, right? And so I think sometimes, we'll do this and people will be like, nobody's going to do that. This is too easy. You'd be surprised. So, and especially, look, white belts, blue belts, if you go compete, there's a lot of people that still make those mistakes. As you get better, you tuck in more, we start to remind, this becomes instinct versus thought, right? It's like when you start out as a white belt, you're like, tuck your arms, right? And by the time you're a brown belt, your arms are just tucked, and if somebody touches them, you tighten up your elbows, you're gonna get better at those things. So you need to get caught in this, obviously, remind yourself, tuck your arms. But also, just don't go, that's not gonna work. The people are never gonna leave their arms there. You'd be surprised. So we're here, okay? She gets under side. I'm like, I'm going to try to get under that. So I reach inside here. She escapes the hip, brings the leg up and over, and locks. Okay? So there's another play. So now we have a triangle and an arm bar.
No questions yet.
Good, good. So remember, if you guys have questions, please, on the techniques or concepts, if you're trying this stuff and it's not working for you, I'd love to help. So, one other option on the triangle. Same idea, but I'm going to bring my arm inside instead. So maybe as she tried to get here, I tried to get inside. So you can just bring my arm inside. You have two options here. One is to possibly go back to closed guard. So if you want to go back to closed guard, you can push the person back in. Maybe me being like longer legs, I might want to lock the closed guard. That might be my better option if I feel like I have a really good closed guard. I obviously like her against me. If I opened her guard to begin with, her option is to probably not. I mean, she could try. She can try to go back to closed guard, but if it's hard to close closed guard on someone, and you're like, just like white knuckling your toes trying to hold that guard closed, that's not efficient jiu-jitsu. If it's 10 seconds left to win a match, yeah, right? Be all end all, just do it. Just you know, just everything. But if it's, man, if we're in class and we're just grappling, I'm going to get the guard open again, right? And so to waste that energy on something, it's like find that next round. For here, maybe to pull herself into close guard, so that's an option, right? I bring my arm inside and I block, okay? She's just going to take her knee, and it's not really a strike, but you're going to give it a little oomph, right? You're going to pop that. That also works for people that open the guard with the belt. So sometimes when you're here and people are doing like the knee diggers, maybe I'm digging it, or the elbow diggers, right? Like I'm here. She doesn't want me to do this, but I'm doing the elbow and the thigh thing, and my hand's on the belt, escape the hip, pop that. Because that belt grip will go when you hit it with your knee. And that's what it says, not a strike, but it's not far off. It's about as legal as we can be, but still making some contact. So you're going to really give it a little bit of a pop. You know what I mean? As much of a strike as it can be without kneeing them, right? So you're going to take it and push, boom. And now same situation. And lock that triangle. So that's a very handy one as well. So there's a lot of, again, it's all from this same position, right? So we now have an arm bar. We have a sweep. We have two variations on a triangle. All from that. All starting from closed guard, cross collar grip. So again, let's start from the beginning to remind everybody where we're at. Maybe slide back in the red a little bit so we can see. We're here in the closed guard to start, right? She's got a hand in the collar. Okay? Unless you're ready to open your guard right away, I'm going to tell you that most of the time this is the best grip because it's the best postural control. If you're more of a spider guard, open guard player, and you don't care, I guess, sleeves will be okay. But just understand that you can't really break my posture very easily from here. It takes a lot more core work. You're going to be trying to use your legs more. It's difficult. So this grip, right? There's a reason that everybody kind of learns how to like break that grip because the collar grip's king. It's the one that's going to rule. So you're here. You've got it controlled, right? I block the cross collar choke. My basic defense here, if my hands are on the ground or something, right? Okay. Hands should never be on the ground in the guard, but right, if they get me there, then that's the time. I block the bicep, escape the hip. Position one, sweep. Right? Position two, I resist the sweep. Arm bar. Position three, I come inside. Right? Position four, I come to the belt. Or I come to the hip. Okay. So, one more that we'll throw in, I think, in this scenario is one that a lot of people ask about, and we don't show it in fundamentals or intermediate or anything like that. But super valuable technique is probably the glute choke. Yeah.
We did get a question. What about the feet on the hips, knees, and the elbows guard? You don't have a collar grip from there typically. Can you still make your way into this series?
Some of it, yes. So they're asking about this position here. Some of this will work to a point. The big problem, again, though, is that I can posture. Triangles, arm bars, all that stuff is going to be very difficult for me. This guard here, a lot of times is going to be about sweeping, and your best tool from here is also going to be probably omoplata as far as submissions go. So I would say anybody, if you ask her, she plays this. I mean, I play it a lot. I play this on big guys. So for me, I play it on people that I know are really going to try to put their weight over me. Against those guys, this is going to be the guard that I go to because closed guard's just going to allow them to put their weight over me. And we kind of did a lesson on that, but if you didn't catch that, you know, right here, if I try to put my weight over between the feet and the knees and everything, she can keep me off, right? Again, if I'm going to do something where I'm putting, if she's in closed guard here, and I just want to keep her down, and when you start training with new people, a lot of times big guys are just content to be on top. I'm not picking on big guys, but big guys are just content to be on top, and as long as they can hold you down and just grunt and sweat on you, then that's their that's their MO. They don't do they're not trying, they probably try to choke you from your own guard, right? Dude, don't forget, white belts they can't do this one, but try to cross collar choke you from your own guard and stuff. And if the person's big enough, if she's trying to do that to somebody that's 300 pounds, the problem with it is she has no hip mobility because I can keep this weight over, right? Or forearm in the neck. The reason we do that butterfly sweep, the hook sweep, the way we do it. The feet on the hips is going to take all that away, but it is going to give me posture. And so the problem is now if you try to hit the arm bar from here, even if you're able to pull that in and lift that up and go there, is look at how far away she is from the arm, right? Omoplata is the difference, right? Because from here, it's the elbow's close. So she can either release and cross grip, right? Right away, posture's broken there, okay? Omoplata is going to be the biggest tool from here. So if you're playing a feet on the hips guard, most likely that's going to change the scenario a little bit. These sweeps won't work. The collar grip's very dominant for the control of posture, and that kind of dictates what games you have to play. The reality is that one of the biggest failures I see all the time with arm bars from the guard is that people don't think about controlling the posture. So they'll go very speedily. They'll be here, and they'll just kind of go. It's even from closed guard, they go for the arm bar. The person can get up, and they can pull their arm out. If she's got the collar control, that can't happen nearly as well. She goes around, and it's I'm trying to get up, but I can't lift my head enough to retreat my shoulder and my arm. And so it's not to say that those aren't applicable techniques, but your technique has to be better, not just faster, but much tighter and a better timed movement. Timing and speed is two different things. You have to be able to apply that technique with a relative good amount of speed, but the timing and the tightness of it is really going to be important. So,
good.
So probably collar grip's going to be for this one. Last one we're going to go to, like I was saying, is the loop choke. So she opens up really good here, right? And I may be just sitting back a little bit. So she can try to arm bar me here maybe, right? But my arm is I'm down. I'm almost sitting away, okay? And one of the biggest things that she needs to do from here is she needs to make sure that she can get this arm underneath my neck. So in order to do that, she's going to drop me down into her lap. This foot's going to drop down. It's going to go towards the butterfly hook here. And she's going to kind of extend that hook and kind of move her hips back to center. Go. Now the arm comes over, and it's going to go under her own. She doesn't want to go so far over that I can get my head up, right? So she's got to make sure that she can go under her own arm or get enough pressure on the neck and apply the technique. So let's go back to this. So this is like I said, we don't show this in the fundamentals, but the collar grip, the loop choke's always available, okay? And it's a very strong technique.
Can you demonstrate the loop choke postured up a little more? It's hard for them to see.
Yes. I'll kind of, so the idea of the loop choke, let's show a couple ideas and we'll show the setup. The idea of the loop choke is that this arm is going to come under the neck, right? So you have to be able to bring the person down, because if you're here and you're trying to come up to them, it's going to be very difficult. You've got to be able to come down enough, okay, that you can bring your elbow up here. You might want to use that grip just a little bit more. Up here, like this, so that this can go underneath. And now we're going to go this direction. So what's happening is this arm is coming up under. The other arm is going to go over the top of the head here, okay, and go under that arm, And then her arms are going to go like this, kind of, right? So you're going to kind of go back to that position. It can be tough. Most people struggle with the loop choke because they have too deep of a grip. Sometimes with the loop choke, we're going to have to go a little bit more shallow in order to get, because if you're too deep, what you're going to realize is you're not actually able to get your elbow up enough to apply the choke. You're here, like imagine I'm really deep in the choke here and I'm trying to do this, and I'm trying to, I can't even get, and I got long arms, right? But if I'm here and I'm able to get that up and get underneath, I'm going to get a little bit better grip on the loop choke, right? So we're here, she's got the grip, okay? She's in the scissor position, so let's go back to this here. And I'm kind of sitting back, maybe I'm even like this here. See, I'm like trying to control the leg. She's going to bring that down. First movement's going to be to kind of push that. So it's going to start to break my base when she starts to do this. Now I'm going this way, so she has to bring her hips back, right? Come up and make the grip. And now, once she makes the grip, go ahead, I'm good still. She's trying not to kill me. She's going to start going back to that side. So, the idea of the loop is just to get this motion, right? Like that motion through the arms. But it's to get there with a tightness where they can't slide their head out. Okay. So really when she starts to do this movement, she breaks my posture down. That's the best tool for this. So butterfly guard players, this is a good one for you. If you play butterfly guard and you have a collar control grip or a half guard, a lot of times you can make the butterfly out. There's a lot of good places we can use the loop choke from. But from the basic position that we all learn, it's a good technique. So again, we'll be here.
This is gonna be better. I wouldn't do this from that position. I would do this from sitting up.
Right.
Because my arms are too short, so I'm kind of struggling to do it.
I'll do this one. So, we're here. So, in the position, right, to do this here, or maybe foot on the hips. The other thing that you'll notice a lot of times it's going to make this one easier when you're playing this guard, if they're sitting back, is to not to stay here, but is to come up to my elbow. So if they sit back, I'll come up here. If they push me forward, I can always accept that energy and come back, but I'll come up here. So I'm here, right? My right foot is going to come in. It's going to break the posture down, okay? So now she fell into the lap, okay? The other hand is going to come over. I'm not trying to go here. What I want to do is I want to start to bring my elbow up and my hand through, and now I'm going to start to go back to that side. Sometimes, I mean, this is another one that can definitely get throaty, so you kind of go slow when you start, because sometimes you're right there on the grip, sometimes you're right underneath. Sometimes you're even all the way on the other side. So you're here like this, and then you get this one, and it's still going to get a good tight choke. And that's actually probably going to be the cleanest variation of it that you can get. And it's nice for your partner, which is good. So you have the opportunity from here, doing everything we just did, to then apply this. So if she's sitting back, like, and so here I know it's like I can't pull her forward at all. I know I can't go even for the arm bar from here. It's like she's so far away. Come up to the elbow, drop the foot around, bring the collar through, apply the hand here, and start to move my body that direction. That's going to be good. So, just so everybody knows, her loop choke was working. So there is the series from the guard. So that is from just the basic opening up to the scissor sweep, but it gives you so many more options. As far as combining fundamental moves, I think that's really probably. Do you have anything else to add to that? There's probably other things you do from there too. More questions at all?
We did get a comment that somebody was going to loop choke John Cook.
That's probably necessary. So Sonya probably already has. But yeah, so that's just again, that basic concept of playing from that scissor sweep position, which is really good. None of that stuff is anything new, but you can combine all of it together so much. And the reality is the better you get with like using your feet on your opponent's hips or playing with that scissor position, using that collar and sleeve grip, you're going to find a lot of things that work really well for you. So. Good?
I think we're good.
I'm good if you're good. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Totally appreciate it. It was a good class today. Have fun.
Bye.